All right, hello there, thrill seekers. That was a little piece of a song called Nazi Submarine by a Cleveland-based punk band called The Plague. I'm doing that song in honor of Bob Sablack. I believe Bob wrote that song. He passed away on my birthday last week, so that's in his honor. Also, I don't know if I ever apologized to Bob, but I ripped off the riff of that song for my song Do What You Will, which is up on this video channel. Here's a bit of that. See, same riff, but I swear to God I didn't mean to rip off their riff. I thought I was ripping off the riff from a song by Starvation Army whose title I've forgotten, but the Starvation Army riff went like this. So there you go. Anyway, sorry Bob, wherever you are, for ripping off your song. I didn't make any money off of it. You probably didn't either, so I guess it's fine. Alright, so recently a comment appeared on my video channel on a video that I did 4 years ago, in which the commenter said that he watches this video again every few months or something like that because he thought it was so profound. And I thought, maybe that's a hint that I should revisit the thing I talked about in that video, which I'd totally forgotten. It is a quote from the book The Wholehearted Way, which is a translation of A. Dogen's Bendoa with commentary by Kosho Uchiyama Roshi, translated by Shohaku Okumura and Taigen Dan Layton. And I'll just read you the quote and then we'll talk about it. The theme, I believe, of my previous video was about why Zazen is not meditation. So maybe I'll title this video something like that. You already know the title of the video. I don't know the title of the video. Isn't that interesting? But anyway, I think that was the theme of the video, but I'm going to read the quote and then talk about it, maybe, hopefully, say something different from what I said 4 years ago. So he's talking about, this is Kosho Uchiyama, there are 3 basic studies in Buddhism, which are precepts, shila, concentration, samadhi, and wisdom. The first is to observe Buddhist precepts and regulations in the Sangha, that is to refrain from doing anything evil. The second is to settle down in quietness. The third is the wisdom that is brought about by observing precepts and practicing Zazen with serenity. Okay, some more stuff goes on, and he says that often Zazen is thought of as a kind of concentration practice, but here's how he counters that. This is, again, Kosho Uchiyama, as translated by Shohaku Okumura and Taigen Dan Layton. And this is on page 158 of the book, in case you have the book and want to look it up. So, however, Dogen Zenji's Zazen is different from the meditation or concentration in the 3 basic studies or the 6 paramitas. Let's not worry about what those are, but I think he's saying, at least for our purposes, that it's different from the type of meditation taught in your typical sort of meditation class or your typical sort of meditation app that you find on your phone or whatever. So it's different from what we call meditation, different from a concentration practice, which is intended to make something happen. How is it different? According to common sense, meditation or concentration is considered to be a means to calm down one's mind, the thoughts, including emotions, produced in our brain. Since thoughts make noise and cause us to worry about one thing or another, we try to calm down. In other words, we try to bring our thoughts under the control of thought itself. This practice takes place on the ground of our thoughts, so we're trying to use thought to control thought. However, Zazen as Buddha Dharma is different. In Buddha Dharma, we see our brain simply as an organ, the same as the stomach or lungs. An organ is only a tool. It does not work to try to calm down the mind with the mind, no matter how hard we try. It's like trying to pull up a mat on which we are sitting, or trying to pick up a chair on which we're sitting. I said that in the previous video, because I thought maybe we don't sit on mats in the West that much. We see this when we actually sit. Thoughts well up in our mind ceaselessly like smoke, and the smoke forms images like those on a television. They seem real. We have trouble because we take the illusory pictures to be reality and put ourselves into them. This is like a country theatrical performance. In many dramas, a repulsive villain roughly handles the good person who often plays the principal role. It would be ridiculous if someone in the audience could not stand seeing the plot and jumped onto the stage to beat the villain. Each of us actually participates in such foolish activities. Thoughts are illusions and actions are reality. But we are directed to do things by such illusory thoughts. The villain exists on the stage as an illusion, but when we beat the villain, that action is reality. Then the drama becomes incoherent and the result is more confusion. So one of the things that Kosho Uchiyama said that I think is really great is that thoughts are just the secretion of the brain, the same way that stomach acid is the secretion of the stomach. And his idea is that we just let the stomach get on with its business, and we don't sit here going, "Ooh, what's it? Is it digesting that potato? No, maybe it should digest the roast beef or whatever." I don't eat roast beef, but maybe you do. So we're getting really interested in the activities of one certain organ in the body when we don't really need to be that interested in them. Mostly thoughts will just go on by themselves. So whenever you're doing Zazen, it's different from meditation, or at least this is how I define it. I usually think of meditation as a practice intended to produce some end. So you're trying to become more mindful, you're trying to become more calm, you're trying to become more concentrated, you're trying to become a better person. Who knows what you're trying to do with your meditation practice? Whereas Zazen is completely undirected. You're not trying to do anything. Well, you are trying to do something. You're trying to sit up straight. I'm kind of doing it right now, although the stuff I have my camera on is in the way and I can't really do it. But anyway. So you're sitting there, you're trying to keep your posture straight, your spine straight vertically, as Nishijima Roshi used to like to say, as if there's a string pulling you up from the back of your head and you're just trying to kind of hold everything in a line that way. Other than that, you're not really trying to stop your thoughts. There's another line here that he says later on in the same section. Having no thoughts is not necessarily good Zazen. Thoughts are important as secretions from our brain. Secretion oozes out of life. Secretion is different from excretion of waste matter. In the same way that saliva in the mouth or gastric juice in the stomach is secreted, thoughts oozing out of our brain are an important function of life. But too much secretion of gastric juice causes an ulcer or even cancer. Excessive secretion of thoughts is also dangerous for our life. Saliva, gastric juice, and thoughts should ooze in an appropriate amount for a natural condition. That is the most healthy condition for life. Meditation as commonly understood and Zazen taught by Dogen Zenji are different on this point. So, usually when you're doing a meditation practice, you're actually trying to thought stoppage. Actually, I got tongue-tied there because years ago when I used to do I still sometimes blog, but I haven't done it in a while. But I used to do a regular blog and people would comment on it, and this is before I had books out, I think. And people would always give me like suggestions, and they would say, "Have you tried thought stoppage?" And I have tried thought stoppage. And there's a kind of, I don't know how you do it. I guess everybody has their own way of doing it. But I kind of would do this thing where I would kind of try to stop the thoughts, like just hold, on to no thought, just go. Anyway, I did it for a minute, or not a minute, but a few seconds there, where no thought comes in, you try to hold it back. But I found that process kind of tiring. I suppose if you did it long enough, maybe some other weird stuff would come out of your brain and you'd kind of go, "Ooh, look at that." And you'd think you're having a great experience. But I think you're just kind of, damming up the conceptual thought areas of your brain and letting the other sort of dream production areas go wild, and then you'll have kind of crazy dreams in your zazen. And sometimes people who meditate, they get real into their crazy dreams, and they start thinking those are reality, and oh, this ordinary reality isn't reality. I've found the true reality over there in the crazy dreams that I'm having when I'm doing my meditation. Zazen isn't like that. Zazen is a practice of being just as you are, and not trying to change it at all. You might observe it. I think the observation is sometimes useful, but you're not trying to shift it in a certain direction. You're just trying to let it go, but letting it go while maintaining this straight posture, this kind of very even regulated posture, is an interesting exercise, because the thoughts will, I think when we start doing this, at least this is the way it happened for me, the thoughts will just be like going, rah, 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 when you first start out. You know, when years ago when I first started, it was all about all this stuff going on. But after a while, a friend of mine put it this way. He said it's like you're chewing a piece of gum after all the flavor has gone out of it. So you just keep... I don't chew gum anymore, but I used to when I was a kid. And you get to that point where there's no more juicy fruit flavor or bubble yum flavor or whatever flavor you bought at the store. And you're still chewing on it, but it's just gross. And that's kind of how it gets with thought if you're doing Zazen after a while. The thoughts will keep coming, but they become less and less interesting. Sometimes this process happens, in the course of a single sitting. Sometimes it happens over the course of years of sitting. For me, it was years of sitting before it got to that point. But after a while, you're just like, oh, there's nothing, there's no flavor here. There's nothing left that's interesting. You start to see it's just repeating the same thing, or it's just, it's me trying to reaffirm an opinion that I already know I have, or some stupid thing the brain does. I once caught my brain doing this thing. It was during a long period of Zazen, like a retreat or something that I was on. And I saw my brain go into problem-solving mode and get really, really worked up over trying to solve a problem, only there was no problem. Usually when you're in problem-solving mode, like the other day, that guitar that I played at the beginning, I took it to Guitar Center to have it set up, but the guy set the action too low, so it was like, I didn't like it. It was too easy to play. Maybe this is just my masochistic side. So I was trying to figure out how to solve that problem, and it turns out there's a couple of screws, and you just go blah blah blah, and you screw it up, and now it's a lot better. So in that sense, I'm in problem-solving mode, and there's a problem: how to raise the action of the guitar. Raising the action means raise the string height off the neck, right? But in this case, it was problem solving going on with no problem in the middle. And I started to see that maybe this is the way things are a lot of the time. Like maybe a lot of the time when I'm having some kind of difficulty or upset or whatever is going on, it's just the brain going into this almost random mode, and what we'll habitually do sometimes is put something in there. Like the brain is in problem solving mode, and then we come up with a problem for it to solve, right? That can happen. I've seen that happen too. So what we're trying to do in Zazen is not control anything. Any sort of objective you create for yourself in any kind of meditation is the product of the same sort of thinking mind that you're trying to kind of go beyond. So if you set up your goal in meditation as, mindfulness or satori or whatever thing you think you want to get out of your meditation, that satori or that mindfulness or that, again, whatever it is you want to put in there is something your imagination has created. So you may be able to realize the thing your imagination has created. For example, my imagination created a guitar with the strings a little bit higher up off the neck than the guy at the Guitar Center had set them. And I worked in my imagination, and I figured out how to do it, and I did it. And so we have a lot of success in various ways and, various places with that type of thinking. So we're very used to thinking in that way. And so we'll apply that same sort of thinking to our meditation practice and go, oh, here's that beautiful goal of Satori, or whatever it is, enlightenment or mindfulness or, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of different things you could put in there. And you create that image in your mind, and yeah, you may come across something that looks like that image and go, oh, wow, I've accomplished something. But it's more of your thinking mind just doing its business. And what we're hoping for, I'm trying to be careful not to put this in goal-oriented language, but what we're hoping for is to kind of get past that. It always kind of reminds me of the scene at the end of the first Star Wars movie where he's trying, I think it's Luke Skywalker is trying to get the little whatever that is, that little torpedo, that magic torpedo thing to go in the magic little hole, and he has to get it right, just right in that spot. And that's kind of what it feels like. Zazen is sort of to me, kind of wavering back and forth away from balance, and then occasionally, oh, balance, and then it goes off again, and then, oh, balance. And you just keep doing that, and often, if you work at it, the balanced feeling will last longer. But even that balanced feeling it shouldn't be the goal of your practice. You gotta let everything go. That's kind of the crux or the heart of Zen training. If you can get that, maybe you've got the whole deal. Is let everything go. Like, don't even discriminate. Even if it's the best thing, even if it's Satori, you let it go. Or even if it's that profound thought, you let the profound thought go. Or even if it's bliss or happiness or whatever you've been chasing, you let that go too. So let all of it go. That's what Zazen is. And there you go. That's the quote from Kosho Uchiyama. And somebody thought that one was worth repeating again and again. I don't know if he's going to watch this video and go, oh, damn, he did it again. Now we have 2 videos he has to watch. No, don't do that. Anyway, that's my little message for today. I think that kind of sums everything up. If you want to donate to me summing more things up, you can go to the URL that you're seeing on the screen below, or that you're about to hear if you are listening on the audio version. It is hardcorezen.info/donate. That is hardcorezen.info/donate. That's where you will find links to my PayPal and Patreon accounts, and those are my main ways of making a living. So I appreciate your support, but as always, you don't got to support me if you don't want to support me. Okay, we'll see you next time. Have a good time all the time. Bye. Hi, Ziggy. Yeah, it's cloudy and gloomy outside and it's gonna rain and you just want to sleep, and now I'm bugging your sleep to get your little cameo. I'm sorry for bugging your sleep. I'm gonna stop bothering you and let you go. Bye, Zig.